Hello, everyone. We are live. Welcome to The Show Must Go On. Line. Today's guest is Jodi McKee. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. My trusty sidekick.
I didn't realize it was International Friendship Day.
And
then when you were posting about this, I'm like, oh, thanks.
It was so funny. I saw a post from, I think, Beetlejuice, and they were like, Happy International Friendship Day. And I was like, that's convenient.
It is very, very convenient. I thought you planned it that way.
Yes, I totally did.
Yes.
So it's funny having someone that I feel like we would hang out all the time and meet up and see random shows, and we will be talking all about that. And it has been nice to be able to catch up a little bit on, the Zoom or StreamYard in this case calls or other type of videos. But it's nice to actually interview you again, because we started off this whole series with right?
That really well.
Sometimes
technology.
You try new technology. And sometimes it's in your favor, and sometimes it's not.
I'm just glad it was not in your favor with me, and not in your favor with Mr. Joe Iconis.
Yes, Jodi and I. It was funny because I was like, "Hey, so I'm interviewing Joe Iconis and Lauren Marcus on, let's say, Thursday. Are you free Wednesday to do a test run?" And it's so funny to think how 4 months or however long this has been, what a change in understanding technology and how videos work and all of these things, because I had to download OBS and then go through different platforms, and now I've changed to StreamYard where I have this fun fancy banner. And it's funny to think back to those days where I was like, can't I just press go live and then have them magically appear?
Of course.
And now I have a ring light.
It all worked out. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying, and now I have a ring light.
Oh, now you have a ring. I thought you said now I have a green light, and I'm like, what are you talking about? What's happening?
Green light. Show must go online. Can continue.
It's is it day 600 of quarantine? I don't know. Also, it's almost August. I don't know how
Jodi, my friend. Isn't it crazy how it went from March taking up 6 years to the rest of the months just being the month long?
Yes and no. March was definitely the longest, but I feel like every month is both super long and 5 hours.
Fair.
Depending on the time of day, especially when you have a school-aged child, as I do.
Yes, that's what a key component. Do you want to take a few minutes and just air out your thoughts on this whole situation?
It's exhausting. My poor kid. For those of you watching who don't know, she's 8.5. She's a delight, but she's an only child, and my husband and I are both working and trying to stay sane. And here she comes, needing attention more than normal because she's not in school with her friends, or she's not at camp with her friends. And yesterday I went to take a nap, and she's like, "Mommy, please," because my husband's very busy with work. She's like, "Mommy, please don't go. I'm lonely. I have no one to talk to." I'm like,
oh, Olivia.
It breaks hearts. I know. But at the same time, for the most part, she's doing great. But then when she says things like that, I'm like, oh, is she doing great? Is she secretly being traumatized even more than I thought? So we're all just doing the best we can.
And that's, I feel like everyone has to be stronger, or at least appear stronger than maybe you would like. And I can see how that would be transferring also to Olivia and other kids. And even just the idea of how long their school year went. And then the fact that kids are going back to school now. Like, we're in a pandemic.
We had to decide, I think we have until next week to decide if we're going to do fully remote or do the mix of like a day or two in the classroom and the other days remote. And we're like, why risk it? Let's just do all remote. But then I'm like, but then there's still no interaction with other kids. So
right.
I don't know. There's no good answer.
Right. Well, isn't that the truth of all of this is it's in some cases like a lose-lose situation, but you would rather the lose-lose situation err on the side of caution. Absolutely. And like annoyance of having to.
Luckily, my husband and I both can work from home and it's not a problem. There's so many families that they can't, like, or single parents or whatever, like their situation, they need the kids to go to school mostly for childcare. So it's exhausting for everyone. But we will.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing those thoughts and grievances at the universe. And to all.
I miss going to see shows in general, but especially going to meet up with you for a show and be like, peace out, family. I'm going into the city for a while. And have a down.
Yeah, I know. It is so crazy to think of like how many times it would be like, hey Jodi, are you free in like an hour? Like sometimes we would plan out.
Oh, sorry, I gotta pick up my kid.
I know. Right.
Sometimes it works.
That yeah, like a lot of times if it were like an opening night we were covering, we would have that like set, a week or two or a month in advance, at least a day or two. And sometimes it's just funny how like show tickets sometimes work, or like rush, lottery, standing room, press tickets. Like sometimes you don't find out that you actually got them until last second. And that's when it's like, all right, let's go down the list. And I called Jodi my trusty sidekick because she has consistently been there covering events with me. And I very much appreciate your calm, cool, and collective manner and ability to roll with the punches.
You got it. And try to keep you a little cooler and calmer.
Yes. Yes. This, if nothing else, the show must go online has helped me understand that sometimes things don't go perfectly and smoothly, and you just have to let it go. And sometimes like there's a delay, or there's buffering, or there's an audio issue. And like for the most part, wouldn't you agree that people are like understanding?
Absolutely. I think if we all manage to get through even part of the Sondheim birthday spectacular with all those delays and everything, people were still into it, even though it like took forever, right? So
true.
I think everyone's just happy to have any kind of content. Since we can't go to the theater and we can't go have big group hangs.
I know. I was looking through some of our photos because of our cover photo. I was like, oh my gosh, I have so many I can choose from, which is a blessing and a curse, because I'm like, oh, I want to do all this. And I'm like, no, keep it semi, calm. And it's just, Alyssa, we have a couple of Showtreons here. Hello, Eva. This is so great. I don't know if you can see the comments, but I see. So shalom, my friends.
The YouTube open.
That is okay. That is great. Focus. Yes, it's part of, like I was saying about this new setup, is I used to have like Zoom open and then YouTube next to it, and that was a thing. Now StreamYard. I feel like I should be a spokesperson for StreamYard, because I'm like, look, StreamYard, so easy. You can connect right there and have all the comments. Beautiful.
That's great.
So
I'm so glad it's doing. If I hit chat, will things show up for me, or is it?
No, I don't know on the guest, because it's like, I think it's different for like the host versus the guest comments, and whether that's just comments between us, like backstage. And oh, Slimbo. Slim has just laid down. It is very hot here. And Washington State.
It's very hot here. We had
Oh, wonderful.
potential for blackouts in our neighborhood today.
Blackout,
Please limit your air conditioning use. I'm like, it's funny. You're funny.
I don't even have air conditioning. That's okay.
Yeah, that's Pacific Northwest for you.
But we have this nice cross breeze going between the window and the door open. How wonderful. So let's get down to business to defeat that. No. To talk about Broadway and the different shows and events and BroadwayCon and it's cool because you have this unique perspective of like being there with me filming and like being a spy on the inside for all of these events where like you've gone so many times, you like know the lay of the land and you know how things work and we have like this like secret language almost where I don't have to like re-explain what I need or like to like capture this B-roll. What has that been like for you?
Super fun. I think anytime you get to do cool things with your friends is great. Yeah, it's been really interesting. Like, I was a huge Broadway fan when I was young, and I kind of, even though I moved to New York, I kind of fell off the wagon, mostly because when you're new to the city and broke and maybe don't have time to go rush shows, it's like, maybe one day. But then Hamilton came on the scene, and it's like reignited my love. And I think now with like so many lotteries and things being digital, it's just easier to find cheaper tickets. But yeah, helping you cover things is really cool. Like, I'm trying to think, what was the first one I did with you? Ooh. Was it the Darren Brown thing?
I feel like that was later on. I mean, that might have been like the first opening night, but yeah, late in the game of us like.
I really should have prepared for this and like made a list, but I did not. So we will improvise.
You know what was that first thing?
And I remember we went and saw Waitress, where we won the signed playbills before the show.
Yes.
And then.
And that was Sarah Bareilles and Gavin Creel. Like that was
so I just assumed. Yeah, it was amazing. I remember it being very cold afterwards because it was February.
Wait, do you remember, speaking of Hamilton and then Waitress, when that whole like Federalist paper scene in Waitress happened and the two of us,
the girl behind us was like, you guys, that was amazing. Because neither of us had seen it, and we're like, look at all these Hamilton references. Not really, but Hamilton adjacent.
Oh, that was so funny.
Okay. So I'm just looking. I keep a list of shows that I've seen. So I saw Waitress with you, and then I saw Alice by Heart by myself, and then Freestyle of Supreme off Broadway.
Nice.
And then we were just talking offline. I saw Hadestown the Tuesday after the Tonys. Highly recommend. If there's a show you're psyched about, and that, I mean, granted, this is normal times. This is not quarantine times. If there's a show you're like, this show's gonna do well, book a ticket for the Tuesday after the Tonys. Electric. Everyone was there. Like, it was intense and amazing. Then we start the Be More Chill journey. Broadway Bounty Hunter. Jervin Hansen, when we got those free tickets. More FLS, The Wrong Man, Jagged Little Pill. And then my last show was Free Love Closing Night.
Oh.
Which was an amazing, if I have to cap it off somewhere, that was great.
True.
And so that's true. I think.
It's hard to remember what was like our first professional opening night, or because I feel like we definitely had, like, you came and helped me film something before I started doing opening nights, right?
I think so, but I couldn't tell you what.
What's to say? And I'm trying to think which opening nights we did together, because Anna was also a Trusty sidekick who would come the other half.
Yeah.
And some other special.
Darren Brown's Secret, is that the name of it? Yeah. Slave Play. Freestyle Love Scream.
Which we will get to that.
I know there's one or two more, but
Yeah.
what's his name? David Byrne, American Utopia.
Oh, right. Oh my gosh, that.
Another one.
Once again, the secret language of telepathy. We just, oh, yep, remember when that happened?
Well, I remember a slave play. I got there a few minutes before you, and next door was whatever show, the name escapes me, that Tom Hiddleston was in. And he came out of the theater to walk his dog, and I videoed him walking his dog, and I did not bother him. Other people were like, blah, blah, blah. I love you as Loki. I'm like, let the man walk his dog. His dog has to pee. And then you show up like, you just missed Tom Hiddleston. And then he came back to walk the carpet for opening night. So.
True. Yeah, that was great. Because I was like, no, like Tom Hiddleston walking his dog, that is like ideal.
It was adorable.
That was so cute. So, okay, we have already alluded to the FLS story, and I feel like our fellow fans will appreciate this story in like so many levels. Why don't you tell it from your point of view?
Okay. So you asked me to help you cover it, and I was super excited. And I remember getting there, and we filmed across the street, and then we went into the little press pit, and it was way crowded because, of course, everyone wanted to cover that opening night, and we're just squished in at the end, and all of the camera people with the tripods were like trying not to trip over each other. So it's already squished. Then it starts raining. Not just rain, like torrential downpour. Thankfully, at the booth, there's an overhang, but where I was and a few other people with the cameras were just outside of it. My back is soaked. All of a sudden, it looks like the ground is flooding. There's guys with big brooms trying to sweep the water to go to like a different drainage spout. I think everyone like threw their things to the correspondents on the other side of the fence so that our bags weren't getting wet. And then while trying to readjust, I somehow knock the tripod. It starts doing this. Shoshana's like, no! Because like a month or two earlier, you had done that, excuse me, had knocked over your camera.
Yeah. Someone had like pulled the chair out and it tripped the leg under.
Yeah. So you were understandably like freaked. God bless the man next to me, because we were like literally this close to him. We were not chatting a bunch, but friendly enough. And he like caught it. I'm like, thank you. Like, oh, okay, I got you. It's like all night.
Girl, you know I got you.
So yeah, that was a little extra crazy. But we got to video Renee Elise Goldsberry rapping and Tommy Kail's perfect curls and all the other people that came through.
Yeah,
that the rain intense.
I know. It's funny to like try to separate the moments of like the joy of capturing Renee and Tommy's interview and like all of those fun B-roll and interviews and whatnot. But like when I think of FLS opening night, it's like the downpour and the camera falling just like flash forward into my brain. Right. And I'll just never get that image out of my head of seeing it like, no, just like that true panic, because we were squished like sardines, like you could not move. And so
if I remember correctly, I think we had taken the tripod and even like made it taller, skinnier to try to fit in, and that was making it not as stable. But yeah, that was a lot. It was a lot,
Jodi. That it's like you get through experiences like that and you think
we could do anything.
I can't. There's literally big love to you too, Alyssa. Thank you for joining us. Always so fun to see you. It is. And funny thing, we will just skip around for a second, that I went to visit her in California to see George Salazar and MJ Rodriguez in Little Shop of Horrors. And the two of us love George Salazar and the whole Be More Chill Mr. Joe Iconis family. So we will get into that. But I thought it would be funny, since she's here right now, to just comment on like loving something on Broadway or a person or like someone's body of work. That's one of the coolest parts of this past year, the last 2 years, has been like following their journeys and like going to California. Like I took a trip to California to see George Salazar and MJ Rodriguez. And then while I was there, I was like, oh, this is a great opportunity to like meet up with other, you know, Hamilton and theater friends and therefore see other things and like go back to Santa Monica and the beach. But like the idea of going to another city or country or anything.
Awesome. But it's George
It is.
Salazar. How
Right?
And then did he
like
see you outside? Did he say hi to you or did you say hi to him?
It was so funny. So I'm sure the people watching this know that I do like a pre-show or a post-show report. And I got there and it was still like really nice out. I'm like, oh, this is like a perfect opportunity. Let's just like knock out the pre-show report. Cause they had like a really nice banner of the little shop. And so I'm like doing my report. And I think she like did a head nod or something that was like, look behind you. And George just like walked up. I was like, this is perfect timing. So we like stopped the video and just like chatted. And it was so cool because that was also the first preview that they had. And to have experiences like that where, you know, it's one thing to support someone on Broadway and then to like fly across the country because you're like, no, I want to support you here as well. And like have the ability to like actually chat for a few minutes was so cool.
Definitely. And George is like the sweetest.
So nice.
Yeah.
It is absurd.
We were at Be More Chill when you were covering the Wednesday. What were they called?
The post-show hangs, which was a funny coincidence.
And we were lucky enough to go backstage or on stage after the show. And do you remember the teacher from the school in Florida? Oh my gosh.
Yes, I actually have been meaning to message her to ask her to come on the series because we've been keeping in touch. So thank you for. Now I'm going to forget.
Marjorie Douglas?
Douglas.
Thing. We all know, right? The Florida school shooting school.
And they did the Seasons of Love on.
Yes. Was that the Tonys?
Yeah.
Memory, guys, is messing with my memory. But anyway,
I know.
She was there.
This is. Now I'm sorry. Keep going. I'm doing some Parkland. Yeah.
Parkland. Yeah. Was she the music teacher? Is that who she was?
Yes. She was the music teacher. This is just like why does my brain stop? Teacher.
Anyway, yes. She was at that night as well, and was also on the stage after the show meeting the cast. And I just remember someone made a point. I think George was maybe getting ready to leave. Like, no, George, you need to say hello. And they introduced him to her. I remember it was like a very sweet moment, and he ended up staying and talking to her for a very long time.
But Melody Hertzfeld.
Sounds right.
Melody Hertzfeld. Thank you. It was like gonna bother me if I didn't make sure to say her name.
Didn't they FaceTime her or he recorded something for her students?
Oh right, something like that.
Like surprise them, like look who I met, you know.
So it's so cool to see exactly that. Like when, you know, George must be exhausted. Plus he's going to do the actual stage door with all the fans, and like at Be More Chill, that's a whole thing and exhausting but exhilarating. And like it's cool to see people, you know, George always talks about it, George and Joe and like all of them, that they wouldn't have been there without their fans, just like most shows. And so to give it back, it was cool. And yeah, going to that backstage, and it's fun geeking out with someone who also appreciates the geek out.
And I will also say, sitting in our nice seats, our press seats, I think I talked to you about, I love when Michael makes an entrance,
Yeah, Michael makes an entrance.
At a point of like nudging me, so I would look instead of focusing on the action. I would look where he was going to come through, and I got to extra enjoy him coming through the paper wall.
Yes, that's such a good point, because sometimes I'm like, do I tell someone that this is about to happen? And I'm like, yes, because I know if I look in the wrong place because I forget it's about to happen, then I'm sad that I missed the big thing. And when you are sitting in those like fancy seats, it's harder, like, because if you're farther away, like we normally are,
Right.
you know, you see everything. But like when you're closer, which is so cool, it's also easy to like just go like at one specific part. I remember I did something like that with John when we saw Anne Juliet in London, because we saw it back-to-back days because I was obsessed with it. And there's a similar-esque scene. I'm not gonna like say it too much so that when you eventually get to see it, but they do a great job of naming the characters based off of song lyrics. And so like they're, especially like with those songs being like, you know, Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears and Kelly Clarkson, like songs that you know and love. I'm like, oh my God, did they name, in this case, I'll say it because you'll either forget or now you have a heads up, you know, to look out for it. So spoiler alert, be aware. I don't think this is really a spoiler. Anyway, I'm just going to go for it. Go for it. Wait for it. They name one of them Frankie because in It's My Life, like Frankie says, I did it my way or something like that. He like pops out and says like Frankie. And I realized in that moment that they named the character Frankie just for that moment. And I respect that so much.
Perfect. I love when it works out like that.
So good.
Not necessarily related to that exactly, but just still thinking about Be More Chill. I remember, I don't know if it was times I saw it with you or if it was just, I think I won the lottery once.
If I win the lottery.
Time pre-quarantine, I can't, it's all a blur, sir. Anyway, I was coming home from seeing Be More Chill, and there's a bar around the corner from my house. And it was summer, and the windows were open, and I walked by, and what's blaring out of the bar? I Want to Dance with Somebody.
I want to dance with somebody.
Like, what's happening? What are the odds?
Oh, George. We love George Salazar. Can you tell?
Do we want to tell our Broadway bounty hunter Joey Kana story?
Wait, this is so good. The big reveal. Once again, since you are my guest, why don't you tell the story?
I'll let her tell it. So we were at Broadway Bounty Hunter off Broadway. Had it opened officially? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Anyway, we were there.
I don't remember the timing.
There were like, I remember a blogger friend of mine was there, and a few like Natalie, what's her last name, Walker and Walks.
Oh, right.
On Twitter. So a few people were there, like wanting to talk to Joe and Lance and the cast, and for whatever reason, we had been talking to Joe, and you had his phone. I don't remember why.
He gave it to me so I could take a picture of them.
And then he was talking, so you still had it. And we're standing there, and we're like, I still have Joe's phone. Do I just have to stand here until he's done? So, like, let's have some fun. So we proceed to take selfies with Joe in the background, and I think you're holding the phone, so I'm like if Joe is here, you know. So we have 5 or 6 random selfies with us being like squishing his head and camera. Why? Oh, it's so hard to do it backwards. And then we're like, oh, I kind of want these pictures. So you were able to airdrop them to yourself.
Airdrop, right?
Airdrop from Joe's phone to your phone.
Yeah.
And I screenshotted the screen of like, do you want to accept photos of Joe Iconic iPhone? And every once in a while that comes up, and I'm like, do you think Joe ever found those photos? Do you think he noticed? Did he just delete them? Does he look through his camera roll? Like, I don't know.
Everything about that.
It was hilarious in the moment.
It's funny too, because sometimes you do something and it's so funny to you, and if you like tell someone else, you don't know if it's that funny, but for the two of us, we were cracking up so hard because it's like a fun, innocent like joke, like,
Yeah.
and because I mean it was like 5 minutes or something. It was a long time. I was just holding onto this phone and being
like, I could walk out of here with your phone. He wouldn't know.
No, yeah,
not that you would do that, but just kind of standing like, okay, want your phone back?
And it was fun too because like by this point, like I've interviewed Joe multiple times, right? Like obviously
another thing I helped you cover was his player club
yes
ceremony.
Oh yeah, that was so much fun.
Yeah, it was very fun.
That was a great time. No, but it's like, it was cool that he would like ask me to take the photo for him and then feel like comfortable enough to be like, here's the phone.
Back from you.
Yeah, I'll be back. I trust you. And I felt like we would be doing a disservice if we didn't take those photos for him. Like he left that phone with us for a while. He probably wanted to see.
I wonder, I mean, I don't know if it's probably not hilarious to him like it is to us. If he did see them, you're like, okay, whatever, guys. Like, I'm always kind of waiting, like, Shoshana, why are there these photos of you guys like squishing my head on my phone? I think it came up in my time hop recently. That's why it's fresh.
Yes, it did. It did. Yeah.
I think I texted you. Oh, I wonder if Joe ever saw the photos. And again, hilarious to us. Maybe everyone watching is like, guys, this is not funny.
This is not funny. But I hope you're enjoying us reliving this fabulous moment.
Also, Broadway, good show.
Great show. Yeah, Joe's another one that we've followed, and from Be More Chill to Broadway Bounty Hunter, and then I went to see him in Love and Hate Nation and covered that opening night, and it's really cool.
What time did you get home? Like 2 a.m?
Oh my gosh,
crazy.
If not 3.
Yeah,
it was.
So God bless you for long. I would have teleported there and back, but
yeah, right. And I remember I was covering something the next day or something. So like I couldn't even like sleep in. And I was like, that's fair that you did not have the desire to go see that that late. Yes. Of course but it was worth it. For me, it was amazing.
That thing at Lincoln Center, like that night with Joey Canis, or evening with Joey Canis.
Oh yeah. You're much better at remembering and deciphering.
Right. And then did you go with me to the New York Times Tony nominee?
I did not, because that was the same night I saw Leslie Odom Jr. at a gala.
That's fair. You were going to go, but then you didn't.
Right. Because I remember I like signed up for it, and then I got an invite to cover that event, and I was like, I think I need to do this. It's fair.
Go wrong.
I remember though being very like.
And then we Leslie Odom in the fall.
Right. That was amazing. And the 4 of us, was it 4 or 5, like just at the front, right. Like.
Like literally, after standing for so long, you're like, please, just want to sit down.
Didn't Leslie like throw the water bottle at us or something like that? Yeah. And we got.
Did Anna catch it?
It is such a blur, sir.
Yes.
Wow. Getting old.
Filming. I am. You were not. Filming your super patron whatever video. That was super fun.
Yeah. And that's like pinned to the top of my YouTube, so y'all can still watch it. What a journey. And that like, so okay, let's talk about like the process, I guess, because that's a great example of like coming up with this idea, a pretty like grand idea to like go to Hamilton, Jagged Little Pill, Beetlejuice, like all of these different locations, write a report, film it, have to do it like 50 times because like there would be a car coming by, or like the subway would go, or like
you forget the copy that you wrote 2 minutes ago because you just wrote it 2 minutes ago.
Right, like I tried to make a change and then I like would go back to the original one, but the original one wasn't as strong as the second one, and then like FLS, like it was. And I appreciate your patience and your overall. You and Anna did a great job at like not being upset to do it 50 times. And because it's like the thing with doing anything is I might notice something that you won't notice and someone else might not notice. But you've already spent so much time and energy and effort into trying to make it the best you can be. And so like for me, there's like that click boom moment where everything just like it felt strong. It felt like a good report. It like had those punchlines and like, you know, the framing was nice and it was in focus. Like there's so many factors that if you're doing it live and there's nothing else you can do, cool, right? Or like there's a time limit or someone walks by perfectly, so you want to use that because it was such a perfect moment that like you happen to get someone in the background. Any number of reasons that like what?
Just speaking of, was that what we were filming when Billy Bush walked through the frame?
Yes. Yes. That
Ever make a blooper roll?
I know. You know, I was going to make it, but it's on my external hard drive that's still at home in New York. And I was thinking like this would be such a great time to do that. And I wish I had that material with me because like when we were at Jagged Little Pill and just singing, isn't it ironic? Don't you think? It's like rain. That's what you tuned in for, right?
Of course.
Oh my gosh.
A+ quality content.
I wish there are like so many more moments of us either like seeing a show together or BroadwayCon. BroadwayCon was crazy. So, you know, there are all these things on social media, especially Instagram, where it's like, follow these 3 people and tag a friend and you can win this. And I happen to win this like fabulous, you know, stay at was it the Hilton, right? Is that the hotel? And it was like, oh, well, I have like a 2-night stay. Might as well use this for BroadwayCon, where BroadwayCon, like, it was almost too perfect that they like, I won this thing. And I'm like, well, this is going to be awesome because we can get 2 beds and we can like all crash there. And that was so helpful to be able to like run upstairs.
How exhausted we would have if we had to go home each night. That hotel was like the.
We're gonna have to do that next year, I think, or
I think
the next.
Well,
whenever.
Yeah, no, it was so worth it.
And
because anyone else that would have won that package, if they weren't in New York, they would have like, oh, I just have to get there, and I've got a hotel, and I've got a voucher for a show, and I've got dinner reservation.
Yeah.
But since we live in New York, it was like, oh, we're using this hotel for BroadwayCon. It's fantastic.
So good. And they were so nice and accommodating because I was a little nervous that it might be one of those things where like you can use it except for these like high interest times, or like you can only use it during a weekday, which also like it's a free stay. So that would have been cool and appreciated. But the fact that they were like, oh yeah, like this is a Broadway related package that you won. It makes sense that you used it for BroadwayCon. And I'm like, isn't that nice? Thank you. And yeah, being able to like go upstairs and like dump the files onto the laptop and recharge both like the mechanical, like electrical stuff and our brains. Because BroadwayCon, y'all, like attending it is crazy and overwhelming. Attempting to film everything and like from 2 different angles and it
was tiring.
I'm still going through some of that footage.
I'm sure you are. I've had to delete all mine because I didn't have enough room to store it. But I knew you had it, so it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It was buying an extra external hard drive was one of the best decisions because there was like a sale going on, and it was either like buy a 1 terabyte for like $59 or like buy a 5 terabyte for like $100. It was something crazy like that. And I'm like, obviously doing that. And that way I was able to like dump all of the files and then also do like a second backup just in case, because we had so many files I couldn't like go through and make sure that I had everything. And that was like a good lesson in creating bwaySHO and being a business owner, which is sometimes you need to spend a little extra money for your consciousness and like your peace of mind that like, yes, we can go film the second day and delete all of your files and not have to worry that they weren't backed up.
Yeah.
Jodi.
It was worth it.
I miss schmackeries. I was like, smackeries? Schmackeries.
I was just thinking about them earlier. I think it was when we were filming your Patreon video.
Right.
Me and Anna. And I got a chai. I got a large.
Yes.
I got a medium, and they were basically the exact same size. And I was like, wait, I had a large? And the girl's like, that is the large. I'm like, but it looks the same as the medium. I'm like, it's a little bit bigger. Pro tip, if you go to Macros, just stick to the small and medium. I don't know what their cups are, but
if it's hot, I think iced is different.
Hot. Oh, probably. Yeah, hot drinks though. I could not tell the difference between the medium and the large. It was like 50, 75 cents more.
Yo, living in New York, those 50, 75 cents means a lot. And that could be a tip, you know?
Yeah, right?
You know, I used to love just going over there because sometimes like you either were waiting for a show or you just did rush. Like there were numerous times where I would wake up crazy early for rush and be like, oh, I'm in the area. I should walk over and they had a delicious dirty chai, which is espresso in iced chai. And I would get oat milk, and my happiness levels were at the same level as my caffeine levels. Because I think if you get a large, which sometimes when you're doing that morning rush, you need, but they do like 3 or 4 shots of espresso in a caffeinated drink. And I'm like, I will take 2, maybe 3 if I really need it. Because I think I didn't know that. And I got all 4 because they just, you know, assume that it happens. And I was shaking so much. And I couldn't sit still, especially like if you're sitting at a show. I mean, if you're covering it and you're standing, it's a different experience because you want to be like high alert. But also having that much caffeine is a journey and is a lot to handle.
Yeah. This just popped in my head. We touched on it earlier. I was thinking about Broadway, the Broadway flea market.
Yes.
And how sad that we didn't get to have it this year.
You know.
Will not get to have it this year. But last year I helped you. You were filming around. And we were outside of the Dear Evan Hansen booth. And these 2 women come up. They're like, would you like tickets? Free tickets? Or did they say free? I don't remember. But they're like, would you like these tickets? Like,
yeah, because it had already started.
Like it already started, but we talked to the usher and they'll let you in, and we were like, I guess, like, how do you say no to this? So we missed like the first song or 2, but then we got to see the rest of Dear Evan Hansen. It was fantastic.
And it was perfectly the last row on the aisle, so we didn't even have to like do that awkward, like, oh, sorry, excuse me, and then like feel guilty about like ruining it for someone else because like that's sometimes awkward. Like it was so crazy that actually happened and worked out. And because we had both seen it, it was okay that we missed the first.
Yeah. I felt bad for those ladies though, because they were triggered by it. It's like, oh,
I know. That's what. And because I think it was like a school trip or something where it was like a group trip. Like that's why, because they said like, we don't need any money because it was like fundraised or something, like it's already been paid for.
And it's already started. Please go enjoy. We did.
We did. It was so, those type of things are so tough because like we were excited to get a free ticket to see a show across the street on BroadwayCon, which was my it was my first show of the day of 3, which would be a very crazy day, and the day that I would go on the stage at FLS.
Major Broadway debut. I'm just sad that I missed that.
You know. Okay. Since we have a few minutes, we need to talk about how this laptop I am using would not be here without these wonderful humans who knew that, you know, starting your own business is financially very difficult, and moving to New York to become a theater reporter is very financially difficult. And I had my like laptop from college, like that I got in 2010, and that editing video on a 2010 Mac laptop is physically painful and also physically impossible to do something in a timely manner. Like it would take hours to render video and sometimes crash. And it was a different time of my life that was very tough, but I couldn't buy a new laptop. I didn't have enough money. And y'all, like, for I don't know, like weeks or a month, like planned this whole thing where like there was this giant check reveal. Like I felt like I was in a game show. So what was it like from your perspective, attempting to get me to this meeting point to meet our friends?
Well, the fact that we went into Durban Hanson and no one really knew where we went, I was like, I can't turn down a free ticket, but I'm also supposed to get Shoshana over here by a certain time. Like, I remember texting people at intermission, like, we got free tickets to Durban Hanson. We couldn't say no to this. We'll be out at like, I don't know, 5, whatever time it was supposed to be out. And then like rushing up to, what's the name of the restaurant?
Blockhead?
Was it Blockhead? Yeah. Like, okay, we're here. And you'd be like, why? Like, it's fine. We're fine. And then.
Right. Because I thought
so
we
I
were
was
just
like,
like meeting up with friends.
Yeah. Let's go take a group picture. We're like, okay. And then we're all like, and then here comes the big check. You're like, I'm sure you were like, what is happening? I don't understand. Meanwhile, the rest of us were all in on it, like,
yeah. That was, I mean, top 3 craziest moments of my life. I mean, it was so unexpected. Y'all pulled off that surprise so well. Like I had no idea up until literally holding the giant check and being like,
you were holding it and you didn't look at it. You're just like, you thought it was like a sign. I don't even know what you thought it was. You're like, okay, I'll hold this. And then
like
someone's like,
I thought it was like a BroadwayCon something. Yeah. Or Broadway Fleet. And
well, and then afterwards, I know I messaged someone at FLS, and I think 1 or 2 other people did the same. Like, we're all messaging anyone we know associated with FLS, being like, I don't care how you gotta get Shoshana on stage for a day in the life. Like, she just had the most insane day. Like, you need to get her up there.
And then I think it was John, myself, and I'm trying to remember if it was Anna or Kelly or there was someone or Lynn, like there was a third person, not Lynn, with us.
Lynn.
With us through like Schubert Alley, and we ran into Anthony Two Touch, and he was like, "Oh, hey, SHO, like how's it going?" And I was like, I wouldn't normally say this, but like I think you should choose me for a day in the life if you see me. Like I think, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything more, but I've had a bit of a day. And he was like, ha ha ha, okay. And like I had no idea that y'all also like reached out to people. I was like, this is so serendipitous that like we ran into him. And the funny thing is, it's like one of those things where a bit of a day truly is like, you know, getting to Times Square at like 8 a.m. with all of your equipment, expecting to be out all day, because there was also, I saw a different show at 7 o'clock that was like a press ticket. And so I like had to see that, not like had to, but you know, it was like a straight play. It wasn't a musical, which like to see a very serious show right after this like monumental moment of kindness, the first act, I was so like trying to keep my brain like focused and also understand that I have like the kindest friends. And it was a lot to like decompress. And then we all met up for dinner at Junior's. And I remember because there were so many of us, like we didn't get the cheesecake. And then we were going to be like, it's okay, don't worry about the cheesecake. And she's like, oh no, like I'll go get it over there. And we like ran into FLS. Like it was so last minute. And like the bells are ringing. Like it was so crazy. And luckily, like I was on the aisle. And so like when I raised my hand, like Anthony saw me. And then that truly was a blur, sir, to use it for the third time in this interview, because like they ask you to talk about your day. They asked how my day was. That was really bad Alanis, and I attempted and failed, and I hope you can forgive me. And they asked like moment by moment for anyone who hasn't seen FLS, like the day in the life. They choose a random person, or I guess in this case, I need more coffee. Go like moment by moment, like where did you wake up? Oh wait, there's more. This ties it all in. I just got back from California from seeing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow, who would have thunk it? This has like the beginning and end story. And because I knew I wanted to get to the check reveal and that I had already done like 50 other things that day, when they asked, where did you wake up? I was like, I am not going to start from the very beginning.
I was in the airplane and I was in California. I'm just going to say I woke up at my grandma's house.
And then like, I think Anissa played either my grandma or Annette, which was fabulous. And then like talking about Brazilian coffee, and like UTK made a joke like Brazil runs on Dunkin' or something like adorable like that. And then, you know, he was like, but it sounds like you had like a big moment. Cause like I feel like I'm telling this story all over the place because that's how it felt, where he's like, okay, so then what did you do next? Oh, I got ready to cover like the flea market. Oh, and then Jodi and I got free tickets to see Dear Evan Hansen. And then, you know, like I was almost like rushing through the rest of my day because I just was so excited to share this and trying to pick and choose, like, what do I even talk about? Because I don't want to be up here for 20 minutes taking up their time as much as making.
If you had said like every single thing, like, but wait, there's more. And like you just kept going. And then finally Anthony's like, why did I pick you? I'm like, why? This was horrible.
Right. And then I saw Alex Brightman, and then like it would just be like a funny thing. And like seeing JMI, and oh my gosh.
Since I sadly was not there for the FLS show, how did they do the check reveal? Like, do you remember?
I wish I could. I really like, it's funny how they always say like it's hard to remember what actually happens at FLS because they were in the moment and but it felt like sitting in my seat watching them redo my day and being like, I hope I don't make a fool of myself by them, like, you know. And I remember they made a joke about, because I was trying to say like, they're not like friends, they're like my family because we're so close and they did this thing, but it came out wrong. And so UTK said something like, you know, buying your friends or something like, yeah, if someone gave me a giant check, I'd be friends with them too. And being like, no. And then when I saw UTK afterwards, because it was also Utkarsh's first performance, it was his Broadway debut too. That's it awesome. Was crazy. And that's the day that like he threw his shoes at Anissa for just like singing crazy, amazing. Like that was all that one performance.
That's amazing.
Crazy. So afterwards, when he saw me, he was like, sorry about like joking about, you know, buying your friends. And I was like, I mean, like, you did your job. Like, I made a goof as I was saying it. You as a comedian, like, have to, you know, an improviser. I see how you would make fun of that. Because in the moment I was like, oh my God, like they know what I'm talking about, right? Like I'm just trying to show how grateful I am. And everyone else is cracking up because they're like, yes, SHO. We know. And I remember because Anthony asked something like, he did a great lead up. The way Two Touch is very good at good at his job, because he was like, oh, covering Broadway Flea, what is your profession? And I was like, oh, thanks for asking. I'm a reporter for bwaySHO.com. And I remember doing all of that and all of them laughing. And then when they recreated it, they were like, bwaySHO.
That's amazing. Oh,
it's so funny. I know.
Make sure I took whoever's extra ticket.
I know. Well, and that was funny too, because I'd seen it so many times. I felt guilty taking someone else's ticket, and everyone else is like, SHO, you need to go. Like, you need to take this extra ticket. And like everyone was saying, like, you are coming. And I didn't know that they had, like you said, tried to like pre-arrange that I would be on the day of the life. And they're like, you've had a bit of a day. You need to cap it off at FLS. I'm like, I guess so. Like, I feel there was just this like guilty feeling, and everyone being like, no, you need to go. And I'm like, oh, if you say so, like, I will happily go see Freestyle Love Suit Cream for like the 13th time.
Just to be clear, there was no like, oh, Shoshana's coming and she is going to be the day in life. It's just like, you guys, Shoshana's gonna be there. She's had the most epic day. You need to pick her.
Yeah, right. It wasn't like rigged. It was just like a suggestion.
Yeah, it was like, you will not regret this choice.
Could you imagine having that much power? We do not.
We do not. Definitely do not.
I miss FLS, but the doc was so good. And okay, I know we don't have that much time, but we need to talk about seeing Hamill film.
Yeah, it's amazing. I still have only seen it 1.5 times since the last time we spoke about it. I watched it. Did we watch it Friday night? Or I think, I don't know if again, time is a blur. I don't remember if we watched it Friday night or Saturday night, since my husband and 8-year-old daughter also wanted to watch. And a friend of mine had posted doing like DIY playbills. Oh, if I had it handy.
Oh, it was so cute.
Don't know where it is. Oh well. So I made my own and printed out the tickets, and my daughter was super excited. She made us all 3 of us, line up in the hallway and like scan our tickets and go find our seats.
She's so
and luckily I have 2 Hamilton sippy cups from the Rogers, so she and I drank out of those. It was a good time. And then I attempted to rewatch it a few days later, but it's so long. I got through the first act and it was like already, I don't know, let's just say 10 o'clock. I'm like,
yeah,
much as I want to keep going, I'm probably gonna regret it tomorrow morning if I stay up this late, because I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep right after it. So yeah. I paused there and I haven't gone back yet. I need to. I think I want to be able to go and just like watch bits, or like rewind things, and like look at certain songs. Yeah. Like I want to give 2 more full watches before I do that. So I don't know. I need to figure it out. But it was amazing. I'm in love with it, obviously. Yeah. It's just so great that we have it. And then the FLS documentary, so good. I was just a little sad. It felt like Broadway was almost kind of tacked on. Right. And I wanted more from the Broadway run, just because I went a lot. Not a lot. I went several times versus some of my friends who went many, many, many times. I'm looking at you.
It just like happened.
I know. Dude, again, if I lived closer to Midtown, I would have gone more, I think. Well, and there were several times where I won the lottery, but didn't get the notification until it was too late. That happened Broadway and Broadway.
I feel like that happened a lot off Broadway.
Yeah, yeah. And like, covering opening night, and then like running into like Shockwave and Arthur in the alley. when we were covering like slave play, and just like kind of running into these people, and like we went and interviewed Anissa, and I don't know, just it feels like people, and then you being in the academy and like talking to Jelly afterwards, and it just feels like we know them.
Right.
I mean, you do more, but
No,
adjacently,
it's yeah. That is such a good point, because never in a Broadway show, like, you know, we talked about Mr. Joe Iconis and George Salazar and like Hamilton and all that, but FLS felt different because like there were a lot of opportunities to see them through Rush or lottery. So like there were so many times that someone would just be like, hey, I have an extra ticket, or, oh, I won the lottery, or Anna would come from lunch and be like, hey, I picked up 2 Rush tickets, or, you know, like there were, or like there's a special guest coming, or Lynn's coming tonight, or like there were just so many random things that made it so unique that seeing it 5, 10, 15 times didn't necessarily feel crazy. I mean,
it's never the same show, so of course you want to get as many times as you can. Of course.
Yeah, that was crazy. And to pick, what?
No, go.
No, you. I insist.
I was just gonna say my couple little quick stories. Most recent first, I splurged on a ticket to closing night and got the fancy seats, like the little 2-seater that's just kind of like by itself. And I remember tweeting that I got VIP tickets, and Arthur was like, "Wait, what? We have VIP tickets?" I'm like, "Okay, premium. I got the premium seats. Let's be a little more." And I'm sitting there, and you know, we're all confident that Lynn's gonna be on, and then saw his dad downstairs pre-show. It's like, okay, he's gonna be here. And Lynn comes out, and he's like direct eyes. He goes to sit down. And he just looks over and like make direct eye contact. And I gave him the good job, and he did it back to me, and I was like, I love you. Thank you so much.
That is such a good moment.
It was so good. Yeah. And then I have to talk about my love for Shockwave. I tweeted a picture of a Soundwave from Transformers poster during Comic-Con. I'm like, Shockwave, look at this. He's like, that's amazing. Where did he get that? And I told him he got it at Comic-Con. Like, he's going back on Sunday. Do you want me to have him get you one if there are any left? He's like, yes, how much? I'll pay you. I'm like, it was $15. I'm like, it's my gift to you. Happy opening. And then I remember we went, and he wasn't on. Kayla was on. So, like, she was the sole beatboxer that night, which was great. He was like, oh no, Shockwave, are you even here? Because I brought it with me. And I remember messaging him, being like, I know you're not on tonight, but are you there? He's like, oh yeah, I'm coming out in a few minutes. And so you and I are like over by the stage door, the actual like door, and not the corral for autographs. And I'm like, okay, where's he at? And he finally comes out, and I gave it to him, and he was just like adorable. He thought it was the coolest. We took like selfies, and then he proceeded to go show every single cast member. And he's like, look at that. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. Where'd you get it? He goes, Jodi got it for me. I just remember being like so happy that he was so happy with it. And then that he was like going and telling everyone about it. It was very cute.
I'm so glad you brought up. Yeah, those are such great stories. And it was so cool being able to like witness that and like take photos of the two of you. Like, what?
That's part of that, just remembering. Oh, hold on. Hi, sorry, dinner's ready.
Nice.
Just set it down. Sorry. Put it in the kitchen. I'll come out in a minute.
Live television.
Because he wasn't on, and I put the print in a paper bag. It's kind of girly looking. Not that it matters. We're not gender specific here, but here's Shockwave and his, you know, his ball cap and whatever with this like paper source bag, and he decided he was gonna pretend that he was a fan. And so he was going up to everyone asking for their autograph.
Yes.
And I think between the two of us, we both have some good footage of him just being like he signed it? And he did like blowing.
Yeah. Attention to detail.
She touches like, Shockwave, what are you doing? It's hilarious. It's so good.
Jodi.
Love those guys and gals. Miss them.
I miss them so much. That was what?
And I miss you. I miss you.
I miss you. I miss you. I miss our random meetups. I miss like seeing movies together and just
Miss
going to grab.
hanging out at the Marriott.
Oh, I think the first thing we did together was when you came with me to interview Kimmy at Hamilton.
Ah, how could we forget that?
I don't know. That
You
started it
came
all.
at the Brothers. That was amazing.
That was so cool. We were in Carvin's Lassant's dressing room.
Very small, and because it was like rest time in between shows, we had to shut the door. And I remember being like swished in the corner, trying to get everything, and like just sweating because I was like holding my camera and like adjusting your camera and like trying to stay out of the shot, and like it was cool though. It was very cool.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
And we saw Thane.
We saw Thane.
Didn't we see him? Like we were doing a little video, like we just did this interview, stay tuned for it. And then he like waved.
Yeah. We did. And we saw Mark Delacruz, and there were a few people, but yeah, Thane I think was like, oh, like waved at the camera, like, what is this? What are we doing? Yeah, it was fun.
And I think that's the day I won that raffle for like the New Jersey Freedom Farm. So I like also picked up my my winnings, which was really cool. And you should go support them.
Because as we were walking into the theater, you and Morton went in the main door. I'm like, oh, I think that was you. And you're like, oh, are you sure? It didn't look like him. And then as we got to the stage door to meet Kimmy, he was coming down the stairs. I'm like, no, it was you. And it's the same clothing. He just went like this.
Yeah. Good call. I know. Which this makes me think of, because I almost forgot, are there any nonprofits or charities that you would like to give a shout out right now?
Not off the top of my head. Broadway Cares, always. Arthritis Foundation.
I like it.
For that question.
Well, I usually send it. It's almost funny when you interview a friend that like you just are reminiscing and talking about these times, because I like didn't send my like, you know, this is what we are going to do and talk about, and this is the flow, and you know, the prep. Ooh, which I need to send my prep questions for tomorrow, so I'm gonna write this down. I use these sticky notes that are very colorful and fun, and I highly recommend doing that because it's for just like life. It's fun to have.
We had a chat about this. Did I see a picture of them? Like I have those same.
Oh, the sticky notes, yeah.
Like the hot pink and bright orange.
Just all these. Yep. I'm like, I don't want to show you all the notes because sometimes they're just like, I normally have like little things, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna let Jodi and myself just see where, but it would have been helpful for some of these specific moments of our, because it's weird to think in like 1 year or now in 2 years, like we've done so much together, which is amazing and hard to remember.
Yes.
So good.
I hope we get to do things soon.
You know. So on to that, it is nice. I mentioned the Showtreons before. Showtreons are my lovely Patreon supporters, and y'all can go to patreon.com/bwaySHO. And one of my favorite parts is we do monthly video chats that we will set up very soon. And it's nice to just like have that community, and like sometimes these conversations, they go from like 1 hour, 2 hours. Like I think one of them even lasted 3 hours because some people were popping in and out, and it's just like they would bring their dinner or drinks, and it's really fun, especially now that we don't have Broadway in the moment, to still feel like this Broadway community. And
don't forget, you mentioned this before we started recording, we've been doing trivia, and it's super fun.
Yes. We have been doing Tuesday trivia, which I don't know if we updated you, but we are now moving to Wednesday.
Better for me, so.
Excellent. Even better. Yes. Because we follow Kelly, who's a friend on the interwebs, a Twitter friend that is also in the Hamilverse. And she hosts this trivia night, and it's so much fun. And we got a perfect score. We got every question right. But, you know, at the end, we usually bet the house. And this is what happens when you are in first place for the entire time, is you're slightly more, you know, conservative with your points. And you're like, oh, we're not positive. Maybe we should only bet 2 points. And the other people bet more.
Oh, no.
So sad to get all the questions right and still come in second.
Wow, wow.
But it was so much fun.
I hope to be there next.
And we will play again on Wednesday. I hope you can. Yeah, it's fun. It is like, it's a fun thing to look forward to every week, of just like random trivia and catching up.
Yeah, because we've been doing that. I play with my brother, sister-in-law, and friend in Indiana. Because usually I go there for a few weeks in the summer. Obviously, the summer I'm not there. But on Monday nights, we go to trivia. So this past Monday, no, a week ago Monday, we did some Sporkle trivia. They had a good time. We came in second.
Oh, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. It's like these little things that make you feel like you're still connected, and that's the fun. So all of that being said, where can everyone find you on social media?
At Jodi McKee on all the things. JODIMCKEE.
Yes, all the things. Wonderful. Y'all can find me at bwaySHO, as you can see right over here. And subscribe to my channel if you don't mind. Now I'm going to freestyle rhyme because we're running out of time. Thank you, my friend. This has been so lovely. I'm so glad we did this.
Yep.
Bye. See you at the show.
Bye.